Hey everyone, it's 1st of June, so let's have a wrap up. I uploaded quite some random videos this month. I told you how to say my name, and thank you for appreciating that. I didn't know you needed to have that so badly. I also told you that I bought a penny board, and you were very enthusiastic about my first try, so I'll keep you updated as soon as I get better. I'm still using it, so that's not bad. I also told you about that I'm kind of obsessed with daily vloggers, and you gave me some really good recommendations. It was very interesting. With recommendations, I also uploaded a Don't Ask, Just Suck video this month, and you had cool recommendations in the comments as well. So if you are looking for new booktubers, go to that video for my recommendations and also to the comments for everyone else's recommendations. Awesome pool of booktubers. This month I also started running again, so I made a video about the power of starting over, and I really liked your comments as usual. And I also showed you all my books that I bought because of BookTube. Well, at least the first in a series. And a lot of you asked how many of those I had actually read already, and all of the ones that were not in my TBR pile were read. So the last 2 or 3 were not read yet. Tag-wise, I only uploaded the Time of Day tag this month, but I also participated in the Why I Love BookTube project, and spoiler alert, it's you guys, you're the best. So let's get to the books. The first book I finished was LMNOP by Mark Dunn, and it's a short epistolary novel about a country that loses his letters. The review makes more sense. I really loved how this book was written and how it makes you think about a lot of different things, and also how well it is done with like losing letters of the alphabet. The more you progress in the book, the less letters the author has available, and he still makes himself understood. But you also see how the people in the country are crippled by not having their language fully able to use. Highly recommend this book. The next book I finished was The Brief History of the Dead by Kevin Brockmeyer, and this is a book that is partly told in the now and the world and partly in the afterlife. So we see what happens and how they are connected, and it was a really interesting concept. Unfortunately, the story drags a little bit and is very predictable, but it still makes you think about things. So in the video, we more or less talked more about the afterlife and what we think of the afterlife and things like that. The last physical book I reviewed is In the Skin of a Lion by Michael Ondaatje, which I don't think I completely understood. In my review, I mainly just point you to Jason from the Heavy Blanks, who made a much better review of this. I do like it now that I've thought about it a little bit more. I get more out of it, but the reading process was not so easy. This was my first Michael Ondaatje book, and by now I've heard that his writing is not so easy to get into, so maybe the next book I read by him will be easier and better. And I finally finished How to Read Like a Professor by Thomas C. Forster. I did not review this book, but I really enjoyed reading it, despite it taking a long time. I had a break of like a couple of months, probably half a year. But the book tells you how to look at literature and how to read literature, symbols and things, and what you can see, and how to look at the deeper meanings, not just the surface. And I mainly bought this because I wanted to refresh what I already knew, and I heard about it on BookTube and thought maybe I'll give it a try, and it was perfect for that purpose. I really remembered all the things. It's in a light and easy, entertaining way how he talks about reading, and how he talks about reading like a professor, and what the things that you can define, and all these things. And one thing I have to say about this book, it gives a lot of spoilers for many classics and literary works. So if you really don't think that you have read enough to read the book without being spoiled for books you may want to read, maybe check what kind of books he talks about. I managed to finish 3 audiobooks this month. I listened to Hammered, the third in the Iron Ruins series, and I really enjoyed how Atticus is trying to keep his promise to leave in battling Thor and everything that happens. That's all I'm going to say. The rest is spoilers. I also listened to a nonfiction, The Tastemakers by David Sachs, and I reviewed this in full because I really thought it very interesting how he talks about food trends, the information about the marketing behind that, what a food trend is, how it comes up, how it goes away, and how much publication and marketing is behind there, and how sometimes things work differently. And I thought it was very interesting to see behind the scenes there. Yeah, good with words today. I also finished listening to Log In by John Scalzi. This is a sci-fi mystery crime story thing. We're in the future where people have experienced a disease, which I forgot the name of, and with that disease they experience lock-in. That means their brain is working but it doesn't control the body anymore, so they cannot move, cannot talk, they just lie and look like they're in a coma, but they're not. So in this society, people developed machines or robots, they call them threeps, to do the participation part in society for the people who are locked in. And this has been going on for quite a while, and now there's a murder and things happening, and we follow this one famous threep and his human partner as they're going to solve crimes. Yeah, that was a really, really bad summary. I also read the novella Unlocked, which I recommend reading before you listen to the audiobooks. Unlocked is not a very exciting story thing. It just gives you a background of the disease and how it came about and what happened in those 25, 30 years before the book actually started. And I read it as a novella, and then I discovered that at the end of the audiobook, the novella is added. So if you have the audiobook or you want to listen to the audiobook like I did, just go and listen to the end first. I think in my Audible thing it was chapter 8 in the second part. But that was really helpful in understanding the disease and less confusing. Other than that, it's rather boring. Another novella I read was The Callous Diary #6, which is a zombie apocalypse series that has been going on for 6 volumes. Wow, I'm good with words today. Anyways, so this is the 6th installment. The 5th one, if you have seen my review or heard me talk about it, was very brutal and harsh with a lot of tough topics in violence, sexual crime, trafficking, and all the things. Now we're a little bit further on and all that is dealt with, not completely, but it's not the main thing that the novella is about. So this was much easier to read again, and we could see how Kelly developed more, how she looks at the whole apocalypse, and we see more people and different people again, and how they react to the whole situation and deal with that. And I find it very, very interesting how this series progresses, and I'm just gonna stick with it. If you haven't started, but you like zombies, go get started on this series. And that was my months already. Tell me about yours. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.